You're killing me, Smalls.
We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS shipping packages. I'm smoking weed out them packages. If I ain't got a gun, I'm stabbing it. I got some leftover lean in the cabinet. I can hit your little hoe when she happy. Poke on that pussy shit like it's a top in it. We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS doing the packaging. I'm smoking good ass weed out them packages. I can't lie, 'cause I ain't capping it.
Welcome back to the DNA podcast. It's your boy D.
It's your boy Antonio. Let's get to it.
I don't know what to detail this topic. This is something we were just talking about off camera that came to fruition, and we was like, "Fuck, this would be a good idea."
All right. So since he doesn't have the intro together, I have the intro together. So today's topic is the Great Resignation.
Oh yeah, that was the name of it.
So basically, if you don't know what that is, I don't know how you don't know what that is, but I think it's like 2 million people or maybe 3 million people has put in their resignation in August.
It was 4 million.
Oh, 4 million. So even more people have put their resignation in August. And I think this is the workers' time to shine, kind of in a way.
We're striking. We're revolting.
Yeah. This has been coming for a long time, I think.
Forever. Since it's been coming since the invention of minimum wage, I can argue.
Well, I mean, before that, they were getting paid like
Less, yeah.
25 cents.
Yeah.
I think minimum wage, the concept of minimum wage is great on paper, but in practice it don't work. Because number one, it doesn't keep up with inflation, and the price of goods goes up year after year, and some years is even more than like right now. I think inflation's like 30%. So this is the highest it's ever been. Yeah, we were kind of born into the worst generation to be born into, to be honest with you.
The worst generation, my favorite arc in One Piece, my favorite group of people. But it also doesn't take into effect, like minimum wage does not take into account when a company becomes a juggernaut. And minimum wage to it is basically quarters again.
Yeah.
Like your Nikes, your McDonald's, your Chick-fil-A's, your Amazons gross so much money that $7.25 or $15 is dangerously low.
$15 an hour can barely get you by in some places.
Here in Charlotte, North Carolina,
It barely
$15 an hour is the standard of living. But the standard of living in Charlotte, what they don't tell you, is with a roommate. So like
that's 2 people's income now.
yeah, I'm about to say, so the standard's not even living by yourself.
Yeah. And what, probably at least 60% of the population single, right? I mean, we don't know that number for sure, but just a guesstimate.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
So
like,
imagine that in your life, that most of your adult life would be spent with some roommate, whether random or somebody that you like, but it's a constant state of having to live with somebody.
And it's not even somebody that you're fucking.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe you are, but yeah.
Yeah. And even relationships count for this.
Yeah.
Because people will be like, oh, well, we're in a relationship. Are there 2 people in that one place paying rent? So
that's a roommate. But even if like you get married, like I understand legally it's no longer the same shit, but like for all intents and purposes, that's the same shit. There's 2 incomes coming into the house, right? And you need those 2 incomes to survive. I don't see how that makes sense.
I don't see how this is standard of living.
Yeah, it's below.
Yeah.
That's the obvious truth, but no one wants to say it.
And so, truthfully, I've known it to be bullshit. I know Antonio's known it to be bullshit.
I've been saying this since college, but whatever.
Bro, I've been saying this since damn middle school and high school because if you know me, I always put things in terms of sports. I've always believed that football players are paid disgustingly low. If you take the highest paid NBA player, any starting NFL player should be above him. That's based off of work. People want to argue, oh, NBA players play more games, they practice, they do this or that. NFL players, every hit has been scientifically proven. Every hit is like a car crash. You're in many car crashes, hit after hit after hit. all game.
I definitely think they should get paid more in relation to like the danger of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be very hard to end somebody's life on a basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
Could it happen? Of course.
And could you break your leg? Yes. Could you
But that's career ending, not life ending.
Yeah.
You could like actually die.
And like, yeah. So like, I've always felt that is disproportionate. Mm-hmm. But what people don't know is the NBA had a lockout. The players got together and actually locked out for higher wages.
It happened multiple times, huh?
Yep. Hell, one time the owners locked out back.
I remember this.
Bro, it was like in 2008, but fuck the owners. And this ain't about them.
Yeah.
But the players formed the union, and the NBA Players Union is by far smarter than NFL players.
Oh, for sure.
Why? Because NBA players have set for they made it to where their salary cap increases every year by a percentage based off the league's increase, which I think that should be minimum wage with a job. So if every year a business gross income goes up 20%, minimum wage should go up 10% yearly. And
At least.
I'm talking minimum.
At least.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, then that would lock out small businesses. You know what I'm saying? Because that would favor a large business over favoring a small business, which, you know, we are all small business owners in this room. So I can see the plight of, I'm just seeing it from that perspective. But I don't think your idea is a bad idea.
I think there's good with the bad. I think small businesses, their niche is that they're a small business. If you come work for them, you get more hands-on experience. You will get stuff that you don't get from bigger businesses. Will you get paid less? Yes. Will you be respected more? Will you be valued more? Will you get more skills?
You probably gonna have a better
Work
more than likely
experience.
work experience, work-life balance is usually better at small business.
So, and I think after a while, small businesses incomes will be different. Like based off inflation, a small business now should not make the same first year amount as a small business 10 years ago.
Oh,
now, they should still be
kinda, but
low,
no.
but like they shouldn't be the same.
Yeah. Well, I think because the cost, so like, I think in relation to like how much the cost of goods are and to how much, you know, not really wages, because wages have stayed stagnant across the board. So that should be pretty standard 10 years from now, 10 years in the past and today. But like just the cost of goods and stuff, if inflation and cost of goods are related, which they are, then their income would be basically the same if the prices are moving with the cost of inflation.
True.
So like in theory, inflation wouldn't really affect your business that much. But I know in practice it doesn't always work like that.
Yeah. I feel like small businesses will find a way to work.
Well, I honestly, what needs to happen is that the government has to step in and actually do stuff for small businesses.
Oh yeah, like, well, you know, when a Corona Relief Fund, actually give it to small businesses and don't give Amazon and millions of dollars, who's had record-breaking year of goddamn profits.
Because no one can go out and buy shit. The only option was to buy it online. But God, don't get me started on that.
But that's a real government doesn't give the goddamn money-hungry juggernaut more money and let the damn small businesses run out.
Yep.
Like, so yeah, you're right. The government, we know the government's fucked. Anybody that knows me, I'm gonna support this damn government. I want to revolt against that. We on the verge of that. But yeah. Well, what you're saying, in a perfect world, the government needs to step in.
Yep.
But I think small businesses, let's be honest too, most small business niches of employment is first-time workers or people who specialize with that. So like a bakery, you're either going to get high school people or people that really love to bake.
It depends. So since we're talking about food, it depends on what kind of business you're running. Are you running an everyday kind of bakery, or are you running an actual like high end? You're doing like high end shit. I physically cannot run a business if I'm doing high end shit. I can't run it with first time workers.
So
It doesn't work.
you're contradicting, and I get that you're still meaning small business, but if you're a high end bakery, you should be able to pay high end employees.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying like, but that would still be considered a small business. If I only have one franchise, I have one storefront, I'm still considered a small business.
So between the two that you listed, so I forgot the first one you listed, I guess standard bakery and high end.
Yeah. So like, if you're just
sta-
making like cupcakes and
Yeah.
and cookies and shit like that,
A standard bakery applies to the people
Yeah.
that's no experience or that just wants to bake. If you're a high end bakery, the problem is what we just discussed. If you pay your employees the same amount of money that the standard bakery pays, that's your fault. That if you need more skilled work, this is why minimum wage is bullshit. If you need more skilled workers, I need more skilled pay.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
True.
If you want minimum wage workers, your high end bakery's going to take no experienced people,
and you'll get minimum work.
Yeah, that's just
Minimum wage brings minimum work.
yeah. And I hate to put it like that, but that's the reason why Resignation Day is a thing. So many people we've been told got to go to college, got to do this. Went to college. Oh yeah, but the best we can do use minimum wage. I could have just came out of high school for this.
Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
What pisses me off even more is when they say you need experience. It's like, how am I ever going to get the experience?
It's the outrageous amount of experience too.
2,
It's
3
5 years of
5
experience. So you know these 4 years I was in college, right? So you do know college is 4 years, right? That you also required. So you're telling me I need to be 30 before I qualify?
It doesn't make sense. What do you want from me? And now we're seeing that companies are so desperate. They're dropping their requirements down. Because I was looking at like a sous chef position or something like that on Indeed, and it was like you need 1 year of experience and you need to know how to order. Like that was their only requirements. And I was like, oh, I could walk in this bitch and get it.
A previous job that I worked at, and I'm gonna get specific, so I'm gonna try not to put them out there. Y'all know I don't give a fuck. If it comes out, it comes out. But we both worked there, so you know.
Okay.
So there was a guy with dreads, and that they tried for so long not to give him I don't know the order. So what's the head chef? So I guess he's head chef.
Executive chef or head chef.
And so what's up under that?
Sue.
So they tried so hard.
Executive sous. It depends on what kind of facility you're running, but yeah.
They tried so hard not to make him sous chef, but because of lack of work and because he's been there, he's tenured at this point now.
Yeah.
They had to make him sous chef, and he's got lucky. So the head chef is getting promoted to a job. Once again, they have nobody else to fill it. He's gonna be head chef. Like this, it's a given because we don't have anybody.
Not saying that they should have held up the executive chef, which I mean they probably should have. He wasn't that great.
Hey, it's not.
That's not my business. Not saying they should have held him up, but if you know that you're short on positions, I don't think that was a good business idea to do that.
And so, like, he's not gonna get it right away. But the chef has even said, everything I'm telling you is insider knowledge. When you get high up into companies, you get this kind of stuff. But the chef even said he's just not experienced enough. He's still 1 year removed from bare minimum. But it's like he looked up. Shit, you don't have options. Like, even though, because in the perfect scenario, he wants to keep him as sous for another year. But you can't keep him as sous for another year to promote him because that means somebody would already have the job.
Yeah.
And so, like, to your point, it's like they lowered. I remember back then for that specific job, it was like 4 or 5 years, maybe even like 5 to 10 years of this, doing that, like chefing here, doing that, doing this.
I think it's, if I remember correctly, that position is 5 years.
And it's just
at that specific place.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
And then this is like leading kitchens. Like, this isn't just, you were a chef somewhere.
It's not that hard. But
Managing ain't that hard.
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah. And so that's why it's like, to your point, stuff like that's happening. Like they're having to give these positions to less qualified people. And qualifications is bullshits. Don't let me sit here and tell y'all that qualifications make anything. A nigga could have 30 years of experience and still be trash at the job.
Garbage.
But now companies are needing to take faith in people that they're not too confident in because you treated the people you're confident in
like shit.
Like shit.
Like shit. And like, so, I think the perfect example of this is like, I'm coming into a job that I really wasn't qualified for, to be honest. I mean, I was, like, experience wise, just on paper, not so much. Shaky.
Being a manager is hard because when people ask me all the time, I tell people, you'll be a great manager. I don't know how to manage. Yes, that's why you get the job.
Yeah.
Like that,
but like,
there's no courses to be like. There's no manager course in classes.
But maybe there should be. You know, maybe that should be a thing in like high school and college. They should teach you.
For me, I've always learned by falling on my face. So when you wrestle,
True.
Did you take a class before wrestling?
True.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's why I explain to people.
Maybe just like a PowerPoint. You know, maybe I just look over, figure some shit out. Hey, you know.
There's always points. So there should be other managers there to give you advice. Yeah, sometimes you get thrown into a situation where there are no managers or the managers are trash. And so that's why you're there, because they're incompetent. But yeah, when it comes to managing, only trial and error. If you ask anybody that I know that's done it, we've sucked our first year. I sucked so bad my first year, thought about quitting halfway through. But when you just learn, like if you tell me a nigga who got a managing job and hit the ground running, flat, I'll show you a liar. He did not just hit the ground running. He either prepped, he either been doing it pseudo.
I mean, or he could just have a really good team behind him, because that would fucking work. If you have a fire team where they're just like good, you don't use minimal work on the manager, that could work in theory.
Here's a little secret. So
you never have a team that's good.
No, not even that. If you have a team like that, right? This is the theory that fucks up, and I'm gonna present you two different options. If the team is that good and they bring in a new guy, there could still be a problem because they might think they're better than you. They might think we've been doing good without this motherfucker. And here's the second situation: if they're that good and one of them get promoted, still resentment because we're all this good. Why didn't I get it? I'm better than him. So there's no situation that makes it easy. Like it's dead ass no situation. I know what you mean by like if I had a good team, if the team is good, they got egos. If you're good at anything, you have an ego.
Especially in my opinion.
That's a given. So
but the trash people have egos.
That makes it worse. That's why whenever like we talk about it and I tell you things get worse, I'm not gonna hold you. If I had a trash person with no ego, I could kind of make it work.
I can work with you.
When a person has an ego, and even when they're like, if they're good with that ego, it's it, bro. You can't tell them shit. You dead ass can't. I had one situation at the Hornets. I have no problem discussing this because I don't ever want to go back. I had this one situation where this woman worked there for 15 years and she was great at her job. Had to threaten to send her home because she was doing literally nothing of what I told her. If I told her do this, I went back for 10 minutes. Did you do it? No. No, that's not acceptable. I told you do that. Well, I've been doing this for 15 years. That's not acceptable. You can either do as I say or you're going home. Man, that put her in check. And I didn't want to do it. I did not want to do it because she was good at her job. But, bro, you better check that ego at the door. There's a reason they gave me my job. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason, to another point, if you were good at your job like that, you would have had my job.
I mean, not necessarily. But
because she's not as good as what she thinks she is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's definitely some times when people get snubbed for positions.
100%.
And I've seen that firsthand.
Yep.
I was snubbed at my last job, I feel. Especially the person who got the job over me.
Yeah. A whole lot of people at your last job was snubbed.
Yeah. But I feel like
I think companies fuck themselves up doing that too. Yeah. To even get back to minimum wage, do you know how you keep costs low? You promote from within.
Oh, for sure.
I was about to say, I've read a book about this. It makes so much sense. If somebody making $15 an hour get promoted to $20 or $25 an hour, they would love that. Even if the position pays $35 or $40 an hour.
Because it's
they're
all
just-
mental. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of fucked, but yes.
It's fucked. But when I read it, it made so much sense.
Yeah, for sure.
But companies go out and get the $40 an hour guy who sucked.
Even if he's good, he's gonna be bad for at least a month.
That too.
Because he has to learn all the shit.
And
They have to learn everything from the beginning.
Yeah. And so that's why it's like I'm going to get into it and I'm going to play devil's advocate a little later. But I honestly don't see why companies don't value the employees that they have. I can get that some companies have some companies think we always rotate employees, so why treat them like anything? But it's a never-ending door because you keep treating them like shit. That's why they keep rotating.
And now it's a vicious cycle. And that's exactly what it is. It's like at the job I'm currently at, right? They pay like $12 an hour. So like in the area that we're in, we're outside of Charlotte, we're out in fucking Boone Lagoon. $12 an hour isn't bad money, right? But like you wonder why you have the people that you have and the level of skill that they have is because you're paying $12 an hour. Now, all that is not on my company technically. Some of that is because of the contract that we signed with the person
with the
that we work
location.
for. Yeah. So they kind of dictate what our pay rate is in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because they're fucking cheap. But
that falls back onto them because in this situation, so it's not your employers, it's their employers.
Yeah, it's my employer's employers. Yeah.
Like it's somebody above them that's being cheap on the way down.
Yeah.
And hell, I can get into it. I tell people all the time, and I've told you this, cooking is a convict's job. And I don't diminish what you do because you're great at cooking. And I don't diminish like the skill, but due to the nature of minimum wage,
I think it's the pay. It's the contract job.
the pay, the disrespects, the constant long hours, most normal people aren't going to put up with that for so long. Yeah. I think even if the pay for me, even if the pay was even double, most normal people are only putting up with that for so long. That job is, I feel like pay should be based off physical demands.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's nothing more physically demanding than cooking for damn 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
Going home and coming back.
Yeah.
Like they're just,
I'm with you.
And so some people always look at it like, so you think cooking's easy? No, that's the opposite. That's why I know nobody's going to do that shit. That's just,
Yeah.
And so that's why I nicknamed it a job for convicts. Because who the fuck is going to do this for $12 an hour? That's
Shit.
honestly no bull. People who fresh out of prison and can't get jobs somewhere else, who's thankful just to have that job. And I'm not fucking trying to look down on them because they deserve to work too. But I tell people all the time, you think a Harvard student's going to work for this $12 an hour? Like this, people be complaining about how stupid people is. You think a Harvard student's going to come here? Yeah.
So I don't disagree with you. So I used to resent when you said that. I was like, bro, what the fuck? But now that you've explained it, I kind of get it.
That's why it's just like, so like, even when you said it, and it's like, sometimes I get upset, they're dumb. You're not going to get smart people. You want engineers in there?
But that's not even what I'm asking for. I don't even want that. I just want them to be able to cook. I just want them to be able to do their jobs.
True. And
I don't want them to be fucking rocket scientists. That's my job.
Yeah, true.
I don't want you to put out fires. I don't want you to have to solve issues when we run out of product. That's my job.
And I think,
Now, I do want you to at least maybe come up with a solution for me and pitch it to me.
and that's what $12 an hour don't get. Me being, so I make 15 where I'm at. I could make my company so much money. I've taken notes on stuff we can do better. I've even told him, he was like, why don't you pitch it? Bro, for $15 an hour, this shit can go under for all I give a damn.
Oh, yeah, for
Why
sure.
Why would I make y'all money when I know y'all gonna just be like, well, you signed for 15. The best we could do is raise you $2. No, I'm not giving y'all no fucking ideas. And that's why I was like, even in that position, he was like, they can do this and that. No, I'm here to cook.
I get that. I see from both sides.
For $12 an hour, you want me to brainstorm?
Well, I mean, if it's your station, you gotta come up with a solution sometimes, dog. Or if I'm not there, because I have to be off at least 2 days of the week, and they make me be off 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I really need to be there at least 6 days. But
When you're in control of something, it is utter bullshit. Like when I leave, and like so you have other managers. Don't know now. I think all of them might have quit. But even before when you had other managers, it's still bullshit when you do something, then come back and it's not how you had it. Just because like we think that maybe because I'm a control freak and that's how I feel. Like I need this bitch. If I need it, if I want something to run well, I need to keep it. You don't switch your engine out every time you drive. Like I need the bitch to stay how it is to be in motion.
Yeah. My biggest thing, coming from a manager's standpoint, is that the days that I'm off, I'm always thinking about work, and it's not because I give a fuck about this job. It's because I know when I get in there on Monday and Thursday, it's gonna be a fucking shit show.
And it sucks because
nothing's right.
It sucks because your other managers won't worth a damn. No offense to them, but all y'all niggas combined won't really hitting on too much of shit. Like you need. It's so fucked up.
I won't say all that.
It's so fucked up where you work at that you dead ass need somebody. With your situation, I need somebody who's been here for a few years, and I need somebody else. You need somebody who thinks like you. Like I always shout him out, John Major. John Major put me on, and me and John are in sync. There's been times where we was on opposite sides of this arena, came back, talked to each other, and then said exactly what the other person said. Oh shit, that's why I did it. And like that's when you're in sync like that, that makes it go well. Now I know when it's a random job, you're not going, you don't get to pick your other person.
And like my thing is like the people I was managing with weren't that bad. They were not by far not the worst management team I ever worked for or worked with. It's just the management team above us wasn't the best.
Yep, always bad.
So like, I mean, they gave up, which I kind of get. At the same time,
do you believe if to our original point, if they were paid more, they would have stayed?
Yeah.
And if they do you think they would have stayed? Would that have just been a short-term solution for a long-term problem?
So the real issue with that job ultimately comes down to workers' pay, right? If workers got paid more, they would treat the job like it's a real fucking job, right? So, I mean, also it comes down to the workers' work ethic because they don't have any.
There's always that odd number of people that it doesn't matter how much you pay.
Yeah,
they're gonna be shit.
They're just lazy people. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, but the idea is that you weed out those people and you keep the people who are actually willing to work. Mm-hmm. That's how you make a functioning company. Now I know we don't have a whole bunch of people coming in right now because this is the whole topic of this episode. But ultimately, it comes down to pay because they're paying such little money, and $12 an hour is just for the cooks. So you gotta think the people who are working out in the front, like the servers and
probably making like 10.
Bro, they're making less, something like that.
Yeah. And go back to our original point. The cost of living here with a roommate is $15. They don't make enough that the cooks could not be roommates with each other. They get that's what that math is telling me. We can't be roommates together. We don't make enough.
Yeah.
This is why I love numbers. This is why I'm a numbers guy. My mom always said I should have been an engineer. Don't love numbers that much. But that's what numbers do. That's why I gave you the numbers of $15 an hour with 2 people. So now when you go back and do the math, yes, they don't make enough to fucking live. So those people are working 2 jobs. And you expect for me to put my all in this job?
Yeah. and that's why I know a lot of them actually have 2 jobs or have kids at home, or so I understand that.
God forbid the kids. I don't even know how to factor that in.
So I completely understand that, and I'm like, that's why I don't ask of them that much. Like when I say I would like if you brainstorm, like that's what I say in my head. I don't ask them for that shit.
Yeah,
I know it's unrealistic. Like, how am I gonna ask you to do all this shit for me?
And they probably thinking of their other job.
The only person I asked to do homeless shit is the person who's becoming a new manager at the front of the house.
Yeah.
I asked him to do homeless shit because he has to think like that.
Because he's expected it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You're expected to come up with solutions now.
And so, yeah, like that's, damn, that kids thing. That's,
and like, you know, especially, because people say, oh, well, if you're not financially stable, why would you have kids? Yes, but you might have been financially stable 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? You could have been really comfortable 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And the number one and number two, a lot of kids are mistakes.
I was about to say, I think I said that last child support episode. I'm pretty sure the number is like above 50% of children mistakes. And yes, this is from married people make mistakes. Yeah.
I mean, you know, y'all get a little wine drunk. And
yeah.
Things happen.
So like mistakes happen. That's just it. I'm going to play devil's advocate because I'm also a maniacal ruler. So I can think from a company's perspective. And so what would I tell you if the numbers say that it doesn't matter how much I pay you, workers are still going to be shit. Like it's higher than what you would think. Like in the high 30s or 40s, workers are still shit. Doesn't matter how much I pay you. So from my perspective, if I'm going to get shitty work, why the hell would I pay extra for it?
See, but the numbers don't say that.
I think, I know it's above 15. I think it was like 20. So like, I think 20, of course, 80 out of 20, but still like 20%. That's a lot of, a lot of still lazy motherfuckers I'm hiring, goddammit.
We've all went to public school. We know what that's fucking like. 20% of them are fucking lazy.
Yeah.
20% of them are coasting. I was in that 20% for some of that time.
Shit, I was coasting, but I was actually just so smart that I could just coast.
Yeah. Like, they're not putting in 100% effort. It's just, I was putting in a maybe 50% through high school.
And so, with that being true, it's a weird influx. Numbers now are kind of weirdly distorted because this COVID thing adds another layer to the numbers. Mm-hmm. But let's take McDonald's. McDonald's have seen less work when they increase their pay. And so, this is me playing devil's advocate. I have a reason to why that is, but like McDonald's is looking like, bro, we doubled that shit. And we don't get, like, we're not even seeing a little bit return on investment. So can you honestly tell me with $10 more that I'm going to see a return? Or is it just going to be same old same? It's too much uncertainty and you can never go back. If we allow companies to go back on what their minimum wage is,
that's how that works.
We've lost it in society. Like we've lost, like
you can never go back once you've already set a limit. So my pushback for that statement is that in the last 10 years, workers' productivity has gone up 160%.
What did you say? I didn't hear it.
Workers' productivity. So how much money they're making for the company.
Yeah.
It's gone up 160%. So somewhere in there, someone's fucking lying. And mine is from a university who's done all the maths.
This COVID thing is the layer. So like what the numbers I gave you is during COVID. Because that's when McDonald's they only raised their prices like 6 months ago, I think. 7 months ago.
Something like that.
Maybe a year max.
I think it's at the beginning of somewhat towards the beginning of this year.
So that's why I was like, that COVID thing adds a layer. Not to be devil's advocate. Well, it's kind of because we weren't working anyway, and so we seen you budge. So if we don't work now, you might keep going. That's how I feel.
I kind of get it.
Yeah.
I kind of get that sentiment.
It's literally of like, I love saying this because the games we play as kids works in real life. It's a game of chicken. It's a little, damn, I tied this in good. You might think this shit's scripted. Will you crack before I come back? Hence, Resignation Day. The reason why we walked out, people resigned from their jobs and left jobs. We're literally playing a fat ass game of chicken now. Are you going to raise your prices before I need to come back? And this sets precedents. Stuff like this, I tell people all the time, once you lose power, it is no going back. Well, I guess there is going back, but it's going to take, we can't do it again next year.
You have to raise the ante. You have to go way more extreme now.
Yep. So like
you could have went pretty mild the first time.
and just stayed out. But now we're gonna have to do it certain ways. But this is why my trump card to people when they want to raise, threaten and quit. But this is from jobs that you really don't give a damn about. Threaten to quit. If you don't give a damn about it, quit. But you cannot threaten to quit. They don't give you the raise. God, they're gonna bitch you. How do I know? Did it. I did. Played chicken, didn't blink. Something made that nigga's job harder. Like, now that you back, you know what? I want this trash taken out. I could be the devil, but he played this game. I thought of it as it's a game. We can actually do without him, so I wasn't sad if he left.
See, that's the very important thing. Now, if you know you are not a valuable employee, right? Do not do any of the shit that he's talking about. Now, if you get a whole bunch of unvaluable employees, y'all become valuable.
So this is where the problem was. They were so unvaluable, right? That they all questioned their value. It's like, oh, I do this, I do that. Yeah, but y'all are so bad. We kind of count for y'all not to do it right.
Damn.
So like, back to numbers. I think our full staff had to be like 25, but we could only get, I think at max we only ever had was 20. But it seemed like every day, these people called out on specific times. One girl had a kid. One girl just never showed up on Wednesdays and Thursdays, this and that. So he was always constantly missing people. But this is the hidden plot. When he comes down to it and he starts to argue, well, I'll walk. You're not here anyway. You put us in a gym. We figured out what to do when you're not here for those days. Yeah. So you can walk because you're not here. Like, you've put us in that position where we figured out. Now, this is where pushing back and playing chicken works. I can do that to one employee. I can do it to two. I think back then I could do it up to a maximum of 4. Me and John remember saying this. We had it set to where 4 people could walk right now. I think I told him whatever number it was. I told that to him. If you don't want to be here, leave. And that goes for anybody. I was playing the ultimate game of chicken, but I knew in my heart 4 can go and we're still going to be okay. Mm-hmm. But if they all leave,
all 20 y'all gonna walk out.
I am screwed. I've lost all leverage because I did not plan on not having nobody. And these are why numbers are important. I've had this number in my head. We have this number. And it's like, I don't know what we was going to do. I was going to lose all leverage if 5 people walked out. I would have let 5 because we would have just been in the red zone a little bit. Fuck, can't let 6 or 7. Like, it is starting to look bad. But guess what? Nobody left. And I had all the power. Power is important. That's why I'm for Resignation Day. Shit, I'm thinking about fucking calling my boss up right now. Tell him, it's it for me, good buddy. Because, like, this is unprecedented what our generation have done in general. We've gotten pay raises, but it's not enough. Now we want more, and we want more respect.
I mean, but have we really gotten a pay raise? Like, we've gotten a pay raise at certain companies, right?
Yeah, true. It hasn't been universally acknowledged.
It's not universal, right? And then number 2, $15 an hour only applies in certain places, right? It's like, if you live in fucking New York, you can't survive off $15 an hour.
Yeah, but there's already like 20, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, in theory. You know what I'm saying?
You can't make a mandate that everybody's minimum wage has to be $15.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
But that goes into, that's a whole nother problem that I could come up with a solution for, but we have to do it off camera and I come back because that's not companies' problem. Well, it is companies' problems, but like the government can't mandate. Like now the government it's out of our control. We can't mandate.
Then it would come down to the state.
Yeah, well, it would come down to your
states. Yeah.
Now it's in the state's hands, yes.
But you still have to have a government minimum. Because the state can say, oh, well, fuck it. We'll make it $2.
True. Now that you mention, I think the state has been the real problem here. Because if the government mandated $7.25 and the state was just like, oh yeah, that's good. No, do your job. We just made a base minimum so you don't screw them niggas over. Not, oh yeah, let's go with it.
Yeah, so I think the last time minimum wage has been raised was like the 90s, right? Like 1994 or some shit like that. I can't remember the actual date, but somewhere around there. I just want to get $7.25. And you know, some states have raised the minimum wage in accordance to how much it costs to live there. Like California is like 15.
Before COVID, New York was 15 or 20.
So like some states have been moving up. Some states is like $8. Some states is like $9. But a
And everything we're
vast majority of
saying
them
is
is
still
at
gross.
the federal.
And every number we threw out is still grossly disproportionate. That 20 in New York ain't shit. It's just not. That 20 in New York should be 40. That's what it. That's
costs
what
you
it should.
$1,500 for a studio apartment in New York.
So,
a
like,
shitty one too.
Bro, don't revoke my black card. But like, I was doing some research on Friends, and so like, they live in Central Park, which is like, it's pretty much our uptown. One girl was a chef that had her own restaurant, and one girl was like manager of like a fashion company. And somebody broke it down. It's no way if they were at one of the highest paid in their profession, they could afford that apartment. It's impossible. Like, it's
not in New York.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was like with their location and being 2 bedrooms, her being a head chef and her being a manager of this don't make enough. What? Like, and when they broke it down to me, whoa, that is right. This is just plot convenience.
Yeah.
New York is outrageously expensive. And this was a head chef of a full kitchen to like she was sought out to be head chef of this kitchen. Mm-hmm. And this woman worked there, and it was like a huge company. I know it was made up, but for me the company was like Polo. Well, so like it was like Polo, and she became like executive manager of sales. And even that's not enough to afford this shit. And they live together.
we're talking hypotheticals. Fictional niggas.
And so imagine what the chef's workers, their workers, we can't afford shit.
I think the perfect example of this is like, so I think the max, like what's the most a executive chef usually makes, unless you're like the owner of the restaurant, because then it's a little bit different because now you're the owner, so it's not the same thing. But like, you're an executive chef, but you're still an employee. It's like $70,000 a year, and that's like the top. You're working at like the nicest places in the country.
Yeah.
$70,000 a year is not that much money.
That's
just barely enough to buy a Mercedes.
And for me, when I think of when we think of living life how you want to, if you really want to live life, how life should be lived, you can't make less than 100,000. Not saying that you can't, because 70,000 is still good, but you still need to work. The job still has all the power. Making 100,000, I don't know. I actually did like some hypothetical numbers. If I made $100,000 for 10 years, if I don't find a way to make more money off of that, I'm a dumbass. I don't need a job for 30 years making $100,000. I don't.
If you work in 30 years, it's because you like your job.
I have no problem with that. But 100,000 for me for 10 years, bro, this podcast thing is blowing up. Other stuff is blowing up. I'm not going to be dependent on that job to do X, Y, and Z. So that's why I felt like 100,000. That's a meal. If you've spent that meal up in 10 years, that's on you. You got a spending it. You got a spending problem.
Yeah. Especially it really depends on what kind of lifestyle you live, right?
That too. I believe I live a poor lifestyle. How do I know? That my gross income comes back poor. So,
I'm just above it.
And so it's like, of course I don't spend all my money at once, but shit, even if I did, it still wouldn't be lavish. But yeah, so that's how I feel about it. So yeah, 70,000 ain't shit.
It's like, and that's like a really hard thing for me to face. It's like, I really love cooking, and this is like, you know, a passion, and I love to do it. But like, sometimes I think to myself, I chose the worst career field I could have possibly chose.
It doesn't help when I tell you to try not to tell you all. I try to space it out for 5 months.
Shut the hell up. Yeah, like just money wise, it just doesn't make sense. Like you literally have to go in and do something else. Like you can still do food, but like, you know, you have to be a professor at a culinary school. You have to do something else if you want to make real money.
If you want to make real money, you got to find a way to recreate the wheel. And I do not know what that is. Like whoever first did it first was like, you know, like the YouTube commentators on recipes and this and that. I know those aren't chefs, but imagine like a chef's, like they got Gordon Ramsay now he's blowing up off of it. If a chef did that first, bro, you recreated a wheel. You took your love of food and did this and that. But yeah, like right now, as you said, bro, you're not just being a chef and going to the kitchen and doing whatever. Yeah. There's too many of that. You're not. Yeah, there's not going to be any whatever, and that's
tough.
Yeah. And so, excuse me, I don't know what the fuck that is.
God damn it!
I would edit that out, but
fuck it.
My damn editing practice is hard. But well, we've circled around it. But do you see any? Do you have any advice for people resigning? And do you have any better solution to getting higher rates? I guess I should ask: are you two or four? And how do you see it happening? I like that.
I'm for people quitting their jobs if you feel like the job has bad work-life balance. If you feel like it's not paying you enough money for what level of work you're bringing, I'm for it. What I will say, in order for us as a country to get the pay rates that we want, we would have to all go on strike or all put in resignations at the same time. And not necessarily all, but like at least 50%.
Yeah.
You have to have a mass strike.
Make them sweat.
Yeah, you really have to make the economy fucking plummet, and you have to be willing to deal with those consequences. You know what I'm saying? You have to be willing to not eat some nights. It just is what it's going to be.
I am 2 and 4 for that reason. So I'm 4 because I'm all about dying for the cause. Should I played football and have long-term brain damage because of it? I'm gonna die for the cause. I have no problem doing it. Some people are like, why won't you go to war? Cause I don't want to die for that cause. But if that's what we doing, if I don't mind dying for the cause with people that I know I will. The reason why people don't, it gets scary. Like with civil rights, there's people who didn't show up to get dogs sicked on them, to get hoses turned on them. But sometimes you just got to look at the bigger picture. Like, what are we doing this for? So, like, the only thing for me that the reason why I'm two and against, what would make me against is if I'm fucking around and bro, I'm all in, but these niggas done sold my ass on out. And then I'm stuck. I should have sold y'all on out.
Yeah.
That goes to my advice. You should never snitch. But if you get caught with a nigga that's going to snitch, you got to snitch before him. Like, you don't want to be the nigga who snitched second.
Now you're snitching.
And so that's why it's like, if that's what we doing, and if I know my people is doing, if you did it, I would do it. And it's like, you do got to sacrifice. For me, people don't sacrifice immediately. Bro, don't spend as much money up front. Don't get to the point of where you're down to your last dollar because now you're sacrificing on the back end.
Yeah.
Cut out going out to eat now. Cut out getting so much extra meats. Like cut back on meat a little bit. That way you last longer.
Yeah.
Don't do it when you're oh shit, I'm kind of low. I need to cut back this last month. No, you're down the hole. That's what make people break quick. And I don't know how long it's going to be. From a big business state of mind, I would say it would take close to a year because they got so much revenue so far.
6 months.
That they're like, oh, we'll hold out for a month, 2 months, 3 months. It goes back to that game of chicken. How long can you have
I think it's
your
6
family
months.
starving? I'm not starving, but I know you like going to those games. I know your kids want new clothes and new this and that. I know your wife likes nice things. How long can you really go?
I think from a business standpoint, it's 6 months. Like as the company, if I don't have workers for 6 months and we have to shut down the facility for 6 months, I know that's when money starts to get funny. And I know that because we don't have employees.
And that's when the higher ups start turning on each other.
Yep.
God, ain't nothing worse than when so which one of us are we gonna cut?
We can't afford that salary no more.
Bro,
Cut him.
all of us is making $300K, and we're losing money by the minute. No, we got to make some changes around here. And so, if that's what's going on, we can do it. Like I feel like our generation has accomplished a lot and still can accomplish more. And so it's like, bro, I'm bored. And I know plenty of people my age, bro, I'm not working that shit. Like, I'm not working that shit for those hours, for that pay. Like, we've already had that mindset that the older generation's called lazy or don't want to work hard.
No,
I don't want to work hard for you.
to me is number one, it's bad fucking business. Because me going to work is me selling my time, right? My time and my effort. So for me to come in, and if we were selling t-shirts and you're selling a shirt for $5 and I'm selling the shirt to you for $1 and you're just making $4 off of me scot free, and I'm supposed to be okay with that.
And you didn't put no time into it.
No time in it.
So
I
my
grew
time
the
and
cotton,
effort.
I put it together. I did everything. And you want me to go in there and work for fucking pennies?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Ish.
No.
And I always feel like this. I'm a guy, and I'm lazy as all hell. I'm not even going to sit here and deny. I don't deny it because Bill Gates once said he'd rather hire 10 lazy people than 10 overachievers, because the lazy people always find efficient ways to get the shit done. Why would I work hard for the same amount? Like, why? If I got paid, if my job currently, if I got paid to sit on my ass when I get paid currently, I'm quitting that damn job. I get paid to sit on my ass. Like,
Oh yeah, at another job.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like,
Why would I?
that's-
If I get all the same benefits and all the same pay,
yeah. Or like,
why would you not choose the better job?
I've said this to you once again. Like, I didn't mean it. I guess I meant it in a bad way. Don't give a fuck. Like, working class sucker, bro. Don't work. Some people live to work hard, bro. Join a gym. Get your body right. I do not support feeling achievement, feeling like a life success, working at a job. That's not it. That's when you work yourself to death. That's not. I get that people. My great grandfather did it because he had kids or whatever. So he found love. Found like meaning in the job. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't take work seriously, but don't be that person who just works extra hard and they jipping you on pay when you could be doing less.
Yeah.
Like, just if you have all that energy, like, once again, if you want to feel true success, go box, go take up a sport, go do something with the extra energy you got for not working so hard.
I think where that idea comes from is that we have been brainwashed as a country and as a world, kind of, that you have to work 5 days a week, and it's like
To feel successful,
to be a hard worker. You know what I'm saying? 5 days a week is all of your week. Let's keep it above.
Because it takes so much to recover.
It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, and we haven't talked about this, but like, I think a work week should be 3 to 4 days,
Based on the hours and based off what you do. I know, so like chefing for you is that, but like, so when I worked in sports, like say like I work for the NBA, well, I got to be at the game. So like if there's 4,
Yeah, but then you have a whole off season.
that's true. I was about to say it
That
depends on
balances it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But and that's a very specific kind of job, because not every you might have 2 games in 1 week, right? And then
Yeah.
you have to work in the middle of the week. You have to set up, break down.
Yeah.
So like, it's a little bit different.
Shit, them damn things pulling fucking games 4 days. Should I have to fucking work 4 days to set the shit up?
Yeah, so
But like,
it's a little bit different situation.
those are niche things.
Yeah, but I was like, the standard office job. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think 4 days a week is reasonable. That's not even like, I'm not asking for a whole lot.
So I think what you're asking for is reasonable, and so I'm gonna go unreasonable. It doesn't sit well in my spirit to work 4 days, only have 3 off in lifetime. Like, as in life itself, I work.
I completely fucking agree. This is why we're trying to get this to work.
So that's why I was like, I do think that's reasonable to ask. Nah, bro, work 3 and get all 4. Like, it. I think I had lots of friends die recently, and so I think I'm just thinking of mortality as a whole. And so it just makes me think, like, bro, what the fuck? If I died tomorrow, what the point was? Well, what the fuck was it working so goddamn hard, so long for? And I think work also takes our mind off of mortality, because I'd never really thought of it for such a long time.
It
Because you think, oh, if I just work, I get paid this. Like I get paid Friday, I get paid at the end of the month.
You get sucked into it, and it's like this, the rat reel, the rat chase. You know what I'm saying?
But then when it dawns on you, I might not even see Friday. So this work was literally free.
Yeah. And like for me, it's like you know, if you know anything about me, you know I love fishing. Like that's like one of my favorite things to do. I haven't gone fishing in 6 months.
Shit, I thought it was 2 years. I'm not going to hold you.
I've gone fishing more than that.
You went with somebody on the podcast. You went with your homeboy. Look like Shaggy.
Yeah, Josh. So
yeah.
So I guess it's only been 4 months now, but yeah, like I haven't gone fishing. Like the thing that I love the most.
Yeah. And that's why that's why I coined working class sucker, just for the fact like you work hard. And I'm not saying that you're a bad worker, but at the end of the day, you're not doing this is what you love. And so you put forth extra effort to do this. But like if you didn't do this, why are you working so hard? Like what? And that's why I coined it working class sucker. And that's why I tell people I'm gonna play that fucking game. I love to play games. If I was rich, I would play games. I'm poor and I play games. I'm gonna play that fucking game. My job be like, you stayed up all night playing games? Yeah, if I didn't stay up all night, I was gonna call out. So you can pick your I'm not working hard as hell not to play games. I've made that decision of no bullshits, I think 9th grade year, because I'll go to workouts and fucking activity bus ends workout, but I get home at 9 o'clock. My mom was like, are you gonna go to sleep? No, I'm about to play this game. I did not go to that sorry ass school, get fucking screamed at practice, not to play this Call of Duty. I'm just
I get that.
And so it's like when people told me before, you need to get your priorities straight. You're right. My priority is playing games first. I prefer doing what I love opposed to doing what I hate.
Coming in the shithole.
Yeah. And so it's like and when y'all hear this, like you didn't think of this at 9th grade, 6th grade. I have thought of this stuff because when I had so much time to myself. I've been in trouble for so damn long. When it's just you staring at a wall or you away like in a fucking dungeon, basically. All you can really do is just think. So I thought deeply of this stuff, and that's why I was just like, I'm on the fence of do what you want to do in life that makes you happy. People say money doesn't buy happiness, but yet they work hard as fuck for the money.
So money doesn't buy you happiness. It sure makes it easier. Number one. And that's the rest of that fucking saying.
Oh well, shit. The hidden part is money doesn't buy happiness, but happiness sure as hell make you sad. But that's why it's like, bro. I've even coined myself the biggest dumbass. People didn't notice, but I was making like roughly $19,000 a week a few years ago, and I just gave it up. I don't even make $1,000 now. So people was like, why did you dip off so much, bro? I don't have a high rate of spending. Now, I do want to make more, and I'm in the process of finding a different job. But those jobs was killing me. It actually made me sad. It made me depressed. And, like, I knew that I just couldn't. I probably would have killed myself if I would have kept that job for, like, 5. If I would have kept that rate of 5 or 6 years, my mental state probably would have deteriorated so greatly. It deteriorated in the few months that I was doing it. Mm. And that's when I realized I can't keep doing this.
That's how I feel right now.
And sometimes you just make the switch. You made the switch, and then you kind of got suckered back in. Yeah. But yeah, when you start to realize that people always talk about knowing their mental state and doing this or that, when you know what mental state you should be in and what's actually affecting you, you're more in tune that I shouldn't be thinking like this. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be feeling this way. And take what's making you unhappy away.
Yeah. It's simple, cause and effects. Like, what did I start in this last few months that's making me feel this way?
Yeah.
Oh, this job? Okay.
Well, even if it's been years, I've been feeling this way for 5 years. What happened 5 years ago? I started working.
Even if you've been at that job for 5 years, if I've been at this job for 5 years and in this year I'm feeling shitty,
true.
Maybe I'm tired of this job, or maybe the job got fucking worse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And so that's why it's like it's easy for me to feel this way, and it's like, hold out, do what you need to do to make it better. Everybody wants to talk about breaking generational curses. Making jobs pay us what we owed is the biggest generational curse that can be lifted for the majority. Black people, still more than we could do. But
yeah, for sure.
So like, imagine 40 years from now, your grandkids being able to work jobs and live comfortable lives because you've made a sacrifice now for that. Like, people work 80-hour shifts so their kids can have a good life in the future. Well, maybe not working shifts can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've covered what we need to cover in this episode.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll revisit this topic when more stuff happens, I guess.
And shit, if we're damn sure gonna revisit it if we see a huge impact. It might be a hot take. Be sure to subscribe to our Patreon, our YouTube at DNA Podcast. D is not DNA Podcast. That's the short. Our YouTube is D and Antonio Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our socials, Twitter and Instagram at DNA Podcast CLT.
Yeah, I mean, check us out, and we out.
Going Ghost.